And here we go. On the, let me see here, it's the 19th day of May, 2025. 6 o'clock straight up, which means it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for an live and all new edition of Real Talk Memphis. I am your humble host. My name is Chip Washington. Glad to be here. Glad to have you here as well. If you are out there, I hope you find us now and stick with us until 7 o'clock tonight. Of course, we always try our best to have a good, informative show for you. And tonight is no reason to doubt that. So, there's a lot of ways to find this radio show. Of course, if you're listening live now to WYXR, which would be 91.7 on your FM dial, you can catch this. You're catching us right now. We are also on the WYXR app. You can also find the show live on the TuneIn, TUNEIN app. We will be live streaming tonight on Facebook Live. And the next day or so, when the show gets posted, you will be able to find us on YouTube. And we are a podcast, so you will be able to find us wherever it is you get your podcast. And a lot of you like these podcast deals. So, you'll find us, put in Real Talk Memphis or whatever, and you'll be able to find us out there as well. So, as I said before, I think we have a pretty good show for you tonight. We're going to catch up with school board member Tamarques Porter. We've not spoken with him in quite some time. Of course, it's been a pretty eventful year. It's the countdown is on, man. This is Monday, and by Friday, all the kids will be done. Another school year will be over on Friday. And so I wanted to catch up with him, talk a little bit about what has happened, what is happening now, and what he thinks might happen in reference to the Memphis and Shelby County School Board in the future. So I look forward to that conversation. A little bit later on, we will be speaking with John Covington. John is the vice president of the Memphis Police Association, and Lord knows, and I forgot to add this in my open here. Welcome to what one individual thinks is the homicide capital of America. The FBI director, I was going to say that for news and notes, but I might as well say it now, said that, over the weekend, yesterday, I believe, on some show, that Memphis is the homicide capital per capita of the United States of America. I wonder where you got that information from. Anyway, I'm going to talk with John a little bit about Lola's being bad over here. A little bit about law enforcement in our community, really what is happening crime-wise. We're seeing, of course, spikes. We lost 3 folks over the weekend, including the death of a 16-year-old child. As well. So we'll talk to John about all of that. And a little bit later on, we're going to talk about a true story of survival. This is God's work in reference to this guest, Reverend Dr. Chuck Lester from Christ Missionary Baptist Church, who went through a life-altering, life-changing health emergency a few years back when he caught COVID. And it impacted him so much in everything that he went, because he almost left here a couple of times during that. But it inspired him to write a book, and he'll talk a little bit about his experiences and why he feels he's still here today, and a little bit about the book as well. So there you go. That's a rundown of who we're going to be speaking with this evening. Again, I appreciate all of you who are checking us out, if you are choosing to do so, and I hope that you decide to stay around. Now, this is the part of the show where we do the shout out. A lot of folks are very fortunate. Anytime you roll that calendar around and you are able to make another trip around the sun, well, that means birthdays. And we like to do a little thing called the shout out here to celebrate your trip around the sun, aka your birthday. But we can't do that until I say, hit it, Brent. We got a lot of birthdays today too, so let's crack into it. Mario Mims celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday to Mary Quinlan. Kenneth Robinson celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday, Beulah May Stitz. Paula Morris Cunningham celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Joanne Rooker. Paul Bruin. Robin Cooper celebrating a birthday today, as is Georgia Miles and Renee Shorter. Lola, ladies and gentlemen, is sauntering up to the microphone with her birthday today.
Happy birthday to my beautiful cousin, Renasha Chapman, who celebrated on yesterday.
Yay.
And a huge, huge happy birthday to Real Talk Memphis' very own Mr. Chip Washington. It's Wednesday. Happy birthday, Chip.
Oh, gosh, thank you so much. If I make it, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's very nice. Yeah, somebody told me, Chip, this is a big week for you. I was like, what are you talking about? Anyway, yeah. Rumor has it that I do have a birthday coming up on a Wednesday of this week. I will take all gifts and gift cards and anything else you'd like to pass along. From all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, happy birthday to each and every one of you. I hope today has been filled with fun and love and laughter, and we hope to be with you next year for your next trip around the sun. Thank you, Brent. Quick look at news and notes. As I stated at the top of the show, the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, said on a talk show yesterday that Memphis, he had been told that Memphis is now the homicide capital per capita of America. Now, I don't know where that information came from, but apparently he got it. And he said as a result of it, he said we have a problem there. And we are going to send the task force down to see if we can't help them fix that problem. Well, if you can't get along with each other, what do you expect? And things like this, if things like this do happen around here, that won't be a good thing for a whole lot of people. But in any event, we did see a pretty busy weekend once again for law enforcement with several shootings in and around the city and the county. As I said earlier, 3 people lost their lives, including that of a 16-year-old girl. We saw more accidental shootings. And what is with these kids finding these guns that don't know what they're doing and they discharge and they end up wounding themselves? We've seen a lot of that lately, too. Parents, when are you going to take the responsibility? When are you going to be a parent to the child that you brought into this world and teach them and show them and raise them the way that you would like them to be raised? We wouldn't be having these conversations if those things were happening. Enough of that. We saw some nasty thunderstorms last night moving through North Mississippi, in particular, Hernando. Hernando got a lot of damage last night. Over about 8,000 folks without power. I heard this afternoon it's down to a little less than 6,000. So much so that DeSoto County schools called it off today. No school at all today because I would imagine the roads and traveling from here to there have been pretty rough as they continue the cleanup effort from what happened last night. Trees and houses and power lines snapped and all kind of wind damage and everything else out there. So it's going to take a minute to get all that fixed. The late word that said DeSoto County schools will not be in session again tomorrow. So we pray for all those folks down there and that they can get their lives back to normal relatively quickly. Prayers tonight going out to our former president, Joe Biden. Many of you may have heard over the weekend that he has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has now spread to his bones, which means he's stage 4, and there is no cure for this. And it does have a very high mortality rate. Now he and his family are trying to decide the best course of treatment. Former President Biden is 82 years of age. And again, that's a very tough diagnosis. We wish him all the best in all of this. We pray for him and we pray for his entire family through this tough time. I am going to stop there and take a break. And when we come back, let's get into the big broadcast. What do you say? This is Real Talk Memphis on a Monday evening. I'm Chip. You know who you are. Let's go to it, and we'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support for WYXR comes from Mempho Presents, featuring the Outlaw Tour 10th Anniversary Show at Radiance Amphitheater on Friday, June 27th, featuring Willie Nelson and Family, Bob Dylan, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, and Trampled by Turtles. Tickets and more information at memphopresents.com. Support for WYXR comes from the Memphis Brew Fest, taking place at Shelby Farms Park on Saturday, June 21st, featuring 40 local and regional breweries, live music, food trucks, and more, with proceeds directly supporting local charities. More information and tickets at memphisbrewfest.com. Support for WYXR comes from the Orpheum Theater Group, presenting Musical Theater Intensive for high school students and recent graduates. This 2-week training program in June will immerse students in the musical Hadestown with a foundational training for those considering auditioning for college theater programs or pursuing careers in musical theater. You can learn more at orpheum-memphis.com/camps.
Support for WYXR comes from Rootstock Wine Merchants. Located at 644 Madison in the Edge District, Rootstock is committed to bringing Memphis wines from small, independent producers with minimal intervention. More information on Rootstock's full selection of wine, beer, and spirits and online ordering available at rootstockmemphis.com.
Support for WYXR comes from the University of Memphis, presenting the Spring Spanish Cultural Series at the Memphis Brooks Museum of Art. The series will offer Memphians the opportunity to hear in an intimate atmosphere with acoustic concerts by Spanish-speaking singer-songwriters of different styles and generations. Coming Saturday, May 24th, is Pedro Pastor. He has spent over 20 years on the stage with over 600 concerts in more than 17 countries. His music straddles between Latin America and Spain, with lyrics that are a hymn to change and freedom. All concerts will take place at 2:30 p.m. Tickets and more information can be found at SpanishCulturalSeries.com.
Want to reach a passionate audience who loves Memphis's arts and music scene? Sponsor WYXR and connect your brand with the city's creative community. More information at wyxr.org/sponsorship. Support for WYXR comes from the Metal Museum. On the last Thursday of each month, May through September, the museum hosts their free after-hours event, Wet Thursdays, featuring metalsmithing demonstrations, exhibitions, food and drink trucks, and music from local bands and DJs. More information can be found at metalmuseum.org.
Memphis Listening Lab proudly supports WYXR. They provide a curated collection of music and music history, a forum for music-related talks and performances, and a music education, appreciation, and experimentation space located in Crosstown Concourse. You can find out more information on their Instagram page at Memphis Listening Lab or on their website at memphislisteninglab.org.
WYXR is more than just music. It's a vital part of our community, preserving Mid-South culture and keeping local voices on the air. But right now, federal support for public media is at risk. A new proposal in Washington could result in immediate cuts to funding for stations like ours, making it harder to deliver music, stories, and the programming that you count on. You can help protect WYXR and public media nationwide. Visit protectmypublicmedia.org to learn more and send a message to your lawmakers today.
Support for WYXR comes from Crosstown Brewing. The kitchen and full bar are now open and serving brunch on Saturdays and Sundays, including mimosas and Bloody Marys. Brunch hours are Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. More information can be found at crosstownbeer.com. Want to make a big impact without getting lost in a big system? Join youth villages to be a force for families while becoming part of one. Help make positive changes on a national scale, one community at a time. It takes a family to transform lives. Start with yours. You can apply at youthvillages.org/careers.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening in the city. Had a little rain earlier tonight, and I'm told that we're going to have some storms tomorrow. Could be on the severe side, so please be careful and pay attention in reference to that. Waiting for my first guest, Shelby County School Board, Memphis and Shelby County School Board member Tamarques Porter. He has not logged in yet, so I'm going to give him a couple of minutes to see if he will do that. John Covington, if you are out there listening to the show right now, you might want to come on in a little early if we need to do this. These things happen every now and again, ladies and gentlemen. It's live radio, so we have to try to keep it moving. But I did hear, but sometimes things happen at the last minute. One never knows how these things are going to shake out. But I was very interested in talking with Tamarques. Of course, he was one of the 3 school board members who voted against removing Dr. Marie Fagans from the superintendent seat back last year. And of course, a lot has happened since then. We have an interim superintendent in place. Is he there? All right. I'm just told he's just logged in. So very, very good. We'll talk about him. We'll talk to him about all of this. And there he is right now, ladies and gentlemen. Memphis and Shelby County School Board member, Mr. Tamarques Porter. Tamarques, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, man, I got you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me this evening. Really, really appreciate that. It's been a minute since you and I have caught up, but I wanted to kind of catch up with you since time has moved along, and can you believe it? We're literally at the end of another school year. Just a few more days, and kids will be out, and the summertime and everything else will be in. But the work of the school board continues on. I maybe if it's a good question to start out with, asking you overall, with the ups and downs of the business of education, how do you think this school year has gone, in your opinion?
So first of all, I appreciate you for inviting me onto the show again. I literally just got in my car from onboarding a plane, so I'm here in Memphis. I'm back in Memphis, but to continue to do the work. But the way the school board, the way the school year has been going, it's been really rewarding for me. I love serving. I ran for school board twice. Nobody runs for a school board seat twice. So I really love serving. I'm glad I'm elected to serve the people. I like interacting with everybody. I like getting into my schools, being a guiding light and inspiration for our children, and just listening to the teacher concerns, listening to the parents' concerns. So it's really been going pretty good. Now, we have had some challenges. I've only been on the board for between 7 to 8 months. So I know it's been 4 years since I've been on the board, but it's only been 7 to 8 months. But it's really been challenging, but it's been rewarding at the same time.
Yeah, and I think we could all sympathize with what you're saying in reference to it. You have a new interim school board superintendent, Dr. Roderick Richmond. How have things been going? I know that he recently presented his 100-day plan. There's a lot of conversation about a lot of needs that our schools need. Some schools need to be torn down. There's a lot of schools that are in repair. But in terms of leading the ship, so to speak, how have things been? How has the relationship been with between he and the school board members?
So as far as the interim Roger Richmond, I do like his approach to the work. I am glad that he has presented his 100-day plan. So for me as a newly elected board member, I feel like I have something to articulate to the public. So hey, this is we're going in as a school board, as a school district. This is the direction we're going in. I know Rod Richmond talks a lot about his 5 A's. And so we can definitely dive into that. But I feel like as a board, we actually have a 100-day plan. We have a facilities plan, immigration resolution plan that we can articulate to the public and articulate to the state and the county commission and say, hey, we are focusing on these issues. I know it's a lot that's happened in the past, but as a board, this is our vision along with the superintendent. We can articulate to the public to what we're doing.
You mentioned the 5 A's that he has brought forth. Tell me a little bit about that and how you feel about it.
So I like it. So I think it's 5 A's, and I shouldn't get myself in trouble with this, but the 5 A's are academics, athletics, art, academic, athletics, art, attitude, and attendance. And so those are the areas that most school systems across the country are plagued with. But definitely with academics, we can beat up literacy. A lot of school districts across the country talk about literacy.
Yeah.
But so we would definitely want to raise the literacy rate. Just because our children are reading below proficient level doesn't mean they're not reading. It's just they're not reading at grade level. That doesn't mean that they can't read. And so we have to change the narrative. Even for me personally, when I was out there campaigning and just before I was campaigning, I don't like to tell children what they can't do. Because they're watching and they're listening too. And so I like to say what they can do, but we have to give them the tools to learn how to read, how to better enhance their comprehension skills, because that's mostly where the conversation get lost at. Our children can't read. Oftentimes where we fall into it's a comprehension type of thing. And if we want to get real about it, comprehension is at different levels. So reading is just decoding and deciphering symbols. The word itself is just to re-add. RE means to do again. AD means to add. So what are you re-adding to yourself? You're re-adding value to yourself. So I've always thought that if we can just, what I just said, teach students to that degree about what they're doing when they're reading, when you're re-adding value to yourself and the comprehension portion of it, we can excel our district in a good way. But we have to stop the narrative of saying that our children cannot read. They can read. It's just the way that our state and certain assessment tests are measuring our children is that they may be falling below proficiency levels for those particular assessment tests.
So let's skip ahead to what has been a bit of an issue in terms of the Memphis and Shelby County School Board. There was a proposal from the State House on both the House and the Senate side for takeover plans. One was a bit different from the other, and at the end of the session, they couldn't come together on how they want to do this. So it's on hold right now. And now one of the things in reference to it, I think one of the plans has the county commission working with you all, possibly working with you all to be able to sort of iron out some of the issues that they feel have sort of interfered with the process. One of the things that the county commission has talked about is changing the election cycle. Now, you got elected along with 4 others in 2024, as you stated a few minutes ago. And if they do change the election cycle, you will actually be up for re-election in 2026. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you your thoughts and your feelings about that.
So a couple of things. I do understand the frustration between the state and the county. I do understand the frustration that they've expressed, and I understand the frustration of the citizens of Shelby County, because for a long time, these issues, even we talking about what you didn't mention was a forensic audit,
right?
And
right,
so
yeah.
that's right. Even what we're talking about, a lot of these issues are old conversation that's now lumped into this new school board. I do think we have people on the school board, especially newly elected ones, that want to do the right thing. Oftentimes it may not get articulated across the board, but we want to do the right thing. So me personally, I don't have anything to hide with forensic audit. I would say start the audit 10 years from start the audit in 2010 and then bring ourselves up to now. And whatever you find, you will find. And so, but don't base these conversations off what people always thought about how a school board has operated. Oftentimes, like, I'm glad that a lot of people are excited about education now, and they're putting more focus on the education. But yeah, let's have the audit and let's see what happens. But as far as like trying for a re-election and everything, it's unfortunate. I do think that it creates create a sustainability, because potentially every 4 years you can have a new school board. So where's your institutional knowledge? Where is just the knowledge in general of how you move a district forward? Again, I'm a newly elected board member.
Right.
Literally, it's a cliche, but people saying they don't know where the restrooms are. I asked that question 3 weeks ago at the board meeting. I had to go use the restroom. I was like, where are the restrooms?
Okay.
And so those things are happening. So it takes 2 years just to get acclimated with the role. and it takes another 2 years to actually be more effective as a elected official. So it's unfortunate if the county commission does decide to adopt this particular position. My position will always be, what can I do to help serve our children and our teachers with Memphis Shelby County Schools?
So if they do adopt the position, Tamarques, would you run again if that were the case?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would run again, and I am. And if that happens, I am running again. And like I said, I ran 3.5 years prior to run for school board. Again, nobody runs school board twice. I'm a former teacher assistant. I taught literacy classes in daycare, and so I've always seen myself on the school board. Part of the reason I ran to have a bigger voice to advocate for our children and for our issues that have been plaguing our city and our county for a while.
Well, it is a challenge. Education is a challenge. I know how passionate you are about education and our young folks. And I know that, as you said, education is starting to become quite the conversation piece in and around our city and our county. Appreciate you taking time. And I know you just got back into town, and I know you've been hustling, and I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk with our listeners tonight about your future as we continue to move forward. Thank you again, man, and I look forward to talking to you down the road again after the summertime is over and folks start to turn their attention back to the classroom. I know in between that time now and that time, you'll be continuing to work for the betterment of our young people. Really appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much.
No, yes, sir, yes, sir. And a couple of things I want to say is we definitely I'm ready to shift the conversation back to education, back to our children, back to our teachers, because even though we have the interim in place, we have to figure out how we can put supports around him and how we can support our teachers. I know the city has been going through a whirlwind with the recent personnel changes that the school board has made, but ultimately, we have to do what's best for the district, and we have to continue to move the district forward. And so I'll be glad when we can move this conversation to how can we again continue to move the district forward? How can we do what's best for our teachers?
Yes, sir.
How we can do what's best for our students? And so I definitely want to be a part of that conversation.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate your time, man, and stay safe. And I look forward to talking to you down the road.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Memphis Shelby County School Board member Tamarques Porter, ladies and gentlemen, and he's all about the children. He's all about the children, and he's all about moving things forward. We really appreciate his time on this evening. Let me take a quick break, and when we come back, we will continue on this road we like to call Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening in the city. Don't you go away. We'll be right back. Covington, there he is. Yeah. John Covington, can you see me and hear me okay, sir? I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you again. Thank you for taking time to come on the show.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page, and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
You're listening, but are you in the know? The WYXR weekly newsletter is the best source for keeping up with events at WYXR, whether they are happening on our airwaves, behind the scenes, or out in the community. Log on to newsletter.wyxr.org to sign up for our mailing list and keep yourself in the loop.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis. Chip with you on this Monday evening. And, we opened up the show talking about a statement that was made yesterday and sort of reverberated here in the city today. And that was from the director of the FBI. And he stated that, of course, according to him, Memphis is the homicide capital of the entire country. That has brought forth a lot of opinions. My next guest is someone who I'm very glad to have on the show tonight. He is an advocate for law enforcement in our city and this community. And another thing I like about him is that he's not afraid to say what he needs to say to get his point across. Ladies and gentlemen, John Covington, Vice President of the Memphis Police Association, joins us now. John, it's great to see you, my friend. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic and great to see you. I love the show. Just watched the interview you just did. Great job as always.
Thank you, my friend. So that statement that I just read that everybody seems to be talking about, I just wondered from your perspective how you took that.
Well, it's pretty accurate. Memphis is a very dangerous city, and I did some research of my own recently that actually shocked me. An aggravated assault is basically an incompetent murder. That's one way to put it. Somebody's trying to do serious harm. We lead the nation per 100,000 per capita with 2,094 aggravated assaults per 100,000. Some people say, well, we better be careful. We're going to turn into Detroit. Well, maybe we should be so lucky because Detroit has 1,547. We beat out Kansas City, St. Louis, Baltimore, Los Angeles, New York. We're number one in these aggravated assaults. And let me tell you, Chip, this community, I hope everybody appreciates Regional 1 because they save so many lives. And I'm sad to say we are a violent city, and I was not shocked by the FBI director's words.
That is really something in reference to what you say. We hear statistics from the Memphis Crime Commission. We have here about certain areas of crime are trending downward, and they like to, highlight homicides in reference to all of that. Yet and still, we hear every single day another case, another victim, another fatality, another. So it's a bit disingenuous from my perspective to hear that and basically, hear someone say that, but basically see something else. Now you're on the front lines, and I know one of the things that you've been talking about, and you talked about last time you were here, is the manpower issue within the Memphis Police Department. And did I read somewhere that you said that we're somewhere around a little over 1,800 officers now? Is that accurate?
We are at 1,894 officers, which is the lowest we've been in over 2 decades. In 2011, we had 2,480, the lowest violent crime we'd ever seen. And right now we're seeing historic violent crime. And I'm glad you kind of made the distinction, Chip, because violent crime is aggravated assault, robbery, murder, and rape. Mm-hmm. What we as citizens think of crime when we talk about, crime, the stuff that really scares us about going out. And, our numbers are so low right now. We're stretched so thin. It's really tough. And let me say this too. We, over the past several years, have seen historic highs in major violent crime. Now that can fluctuate a little bit, but if you have a friend who's an alcoholic, instead of 8 drinks a day, he's drinking 7. Well, it's better, but we still got a problem, and we got to deal with the fact that we got a problem. We got to fix it. So we don't want to get caught up in kind of minor fluctuations.
In reference to what you just said, and that's really eye-opening for people who might be listening right now, 1,800 plus, or just under 1,900 officers in a city that has close to 1 million in population. That's a pretty daunting number. And a pretty daunting low number to try to get from one side of town to the other when so many things seem to be breaking out. How do we fix the problem? And we're losing officers. It seems at a pretty regular rate, are we not?
We are. And I just did a little study, a little research, and over the past 3 years, we've lost 73% of the officers we've lost to local agencies. They stayed in law enforcement. But Memphis answers about 1 million calls per year, whereas Shelby County is about 150,000, Germantown 38,000. You get out to some of these smaller agencies, it gets much lower.
Sure.
We've also had line of duty deaths in the past 4.5 years. That's number one per capita in the country. So we're a dangerous department. We're very busy, and it's tough on a lot of these officers. And so we're losing them. But I want to tell you, a city who has turned it around, and again, I'm going to give them a shout out, is Detroit. Between 2023 and 2024, they got a net gain of 349 officers and got back to 97% fully staffed. And the way they did it, they did a big raise, about 20%. They made it easier for other officers to come from other agencies and buy in some of their retirement time.
Yeah.
And the other thing, which I think is important, if you signed on to the job and quit within 4 years, you had to pay for your training in the academy. And what that does is the people who don't take it seriously or just going to try to come for a year or two, those people won't sign up. That didn't stop me. If that had been in place, that wouldn't have stopped me when I signed up because I was there for the long haul. So Detroit has kind of shown us the way to do it. And, that may not be the only way, but they definitely have a plan. And we've got to have a conversation about getting a better plan.
I was going to say, you mentioned several reasons as to why Detroit seems to be doing better in the recruitment of officers and things like that. I've always, one of the things I've always said is in reference to law enforcement, people need to understand and really recognize that they are people first. You all are people first. I mean, and you want to come home to your families like everybody else wants to come home to their families. And I would imagine that there might be some sense of, and a lot of these people who commit their lives to law enforcement are angels as far as I'm concerned, because it's a dangerous world out here. But I mean, I think that does it become lost sometimes, John, when you hear the conversation on the streets, when you hear the conversation, out there or wherever out there is about law enforcement in a negative way. There are many law enforcement professionals each and every day who put their lives on the line to try to protect all of us. And I'm sure that it probably bothers you a bit when you hear otherwise. Does it not?
Well, let me put it this way. When I was in patrol, every neighborhood I went into, the majority of people said, "Thank you. We need you here. We want you here." And that cut across race, gender, whatever you want to call it, economics. And so the majority of people out there are supportive. And a lot of time it's the loudest voices. But to be fair, you give me 1 year of good works and it takes one idiotic or heinous action by one officer and it ruins all that. And if you got 99.9% of officers doing the right thing, it only takes that one to blow it up. And so I get, some of those narratives out there. I understand that. But you brought up a great point. Officers are human beings. They're people. They love their community. They feel a calling. They want to go out there and serve. And right now they're stretched very thin. And it breaks their heart because they're running from, it could be a shooting of a young person, and then you go immediately to a car crash. And I mean, it's tough. And Chip, I just want to bring up something that happened recently. A young child, I think she was 15, laying in her bed. A bullet came through the wall and hit her. Thank God she survived. But that was only a story for about 2 days. And I think that's wrong. When we are living in a time in a city with that, we're kind of numb that's not a bigger story. Because as a parent, I cannot imagine standing in my kitchen and my child coming out of the bedroom with blood on their head. It just shook me to the core.
Yeah, I think a lot of times our focus may not be as intense in certain situations as it is in other situations. Is there any, from your perspective? I mean, how do we change things? I mean, because from where I stand, we've lost the love for each other in mankind. We don't love each other. We don't care about each other in a lot of these instances. We don't support each other, and this is the truth. And the facts are what we see on a daily basis out here that tends to back that up. Would you be supportive? And I know the FBI director said he's going to send a task force down here, an FBI task force down here to try to help straighten the situation out. Are you an advocate of that? But what do you think about anything symbolizing something like that?
Well, I welcome all the help we can get if they can bring resources and bodies down here to help us, and because it's all about protecting the citizens. That's what it's all about. And you talked about too, you hit on it so well. A lot of it's with social media and everything. There's so many things that divide us, but when you sit down and talk to somebody, we've got so much more in common than we do apart. And what I'd like to see, one thing we're doing, and I want to a little shout out for this. The MPA working with the Crime Commission in the city has come up with a program. If you're a leader in the community, a teacher, a pastor, or just a business person or just a person in the community, if you recruit someone to go through the police academy and they graduate, $1,000 will be donated in your name to any local charity or a nonprofit here in Memphis. And that's a way to build connections. Yeah. And I'd like to go into the schools and we got two problems here: too much crime, not enough police, and not enough economic opportunity for young people. So maybe let's set it up earlier that they can take a path to be a firefighter, a police officer, or a city worker, or an attorney, or whatever it may be. Let's get our homegrown talent, give people opportunity, and build a police force that reflects our city, which I think will create a lot more bonds and communication.
That's actually a wonderful idea. I would really like more folks to get together. I know a lot of these organizations and things, they have these meetings, and they talk about some of the issues that we face on a daily basis, and I think that we can't stop. And even based on what you just said, we can't stop having these conversations, and we can't stop underestimating what is really going on out there. There is a problem out there, and that we need to focus all our attention to. And I think it takes all of us. You said that before, and I appreciate you saying that. It takes all of us. It's not just law enforcement here, specific there. It takes all of us as a community, as a city, as a county, to get together and really almost to demand that we change our perspective in terms of crime. Am I wrong about that?
No, I think you're right. And, one of the things about getting numbers up is this thing happens called community policing. Yeah. A lot of people define that differently. I define it as being able to have enough time between calls to get to know the people in the area you patrol, to create trust, to create bonds, create community. And, one thing I worry about, and Chip, you and I have talked about this a little bit off the air, when there's a shortage, there can be a tendency, and we all get downtown is very important. It's for tourism, all these things. But I don't want to see a situation happen as we get short where resources are being pulled out of our communities into downtown. Because to me, in Parkway Village, where I did most of my work, every family there is just as important as downtown. Yeah. Because they're owed to feel safe, for their children to feel safe, and to be able to go to the store and do these things. And we have got to find that balance, because to do anything less is just wrong.
John Covington, Vice President of the Memphis Police Association. Good man all the way around. John, thank you, man, for taking some time out of your busy schedule to come share some time with me and the listeners tonight. I really appreciate you. And as always, please be careful and please be safe out there. Godspeed to you and all of our fine men and women who have committed their lives to law enforcement. I really appreciate it, man.
Well, thank you, sir. It's always an honor to be on your show. Keep doing great work, and I'll be on soon.
Absolutely.
Let me know.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. John Covington, ladies and gentlemen. We have a problem, and we need to face the fact that we do have a problem. But more importantly, we need to all man up, get together, and try to figure out how to fix the problem. That is the perspective that, at least from my viewpoint. Let's take a final break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about a life or death story for real. In reference to my next guest. So don't go away. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest? Or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page, and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Programming on WYXR is brought to you by a grant from Arts Memphis, who has invested $94 million into our local arts community to teach, uplift, unite, and engage Memphians of all ages and zip codes.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening in the city. Chip with you, and my next guest is someone, and I hope that you're paying attention if you're out there listening right now. Imagine, if you will, contracting COVID, which a lot of us did, and me included, but going through what this man went through in terms of being hospitalized for over 40 days. Many folks didn't think he was going to pull out of this, and but he did. And to talk to him is nothing but God's grace. Absolutely, positively, so much so that it inspired him to write a book called A Real-Time Miracle. Please welcome to the show Reverend Dr. Chuck Lester, the executive pastor of Christ Missionary Baptist Church, joining us now. And Chuck, it's great to see you. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well, Chip. Thank you for having me, and God bless you for all of the work you do for our community, for our city. You're doing a great work, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So listen, take me back to the time that you contracted COVID, and walk us through, because you, my friend, went through quite the journey.
Absolutely. We all remember back in March 2020 when everything started shutting down because of this new thing called the coronavirus. It was new to our country anyway.
Yeah.
And restaurants were shutting down. We couldn't go into restaurants to eat. We couldn't go into movie theaters. The kids couldn't go to school. They had to go to online schooling. All colleges had to go to online. Everything was done online. People began working remotely. Everybody had to make this shift, and we had to do it fast. Even church services went virtual.
Right.
Yeah, people were online going to church. And long story short, I went from March until about the last week of July without contracting COVID. I was out helping people. I was out getting face masks and essential items people needed: toilet tissue, paper towels, alcohol, just Lysol, anything I could find to help other people. In the last week of July, my wife and I, Dr. Deneen Lester, contracted COVID. We were, my wife had some symptoms. I really didn't have any symptoms. And one day, my wife was cooking a roast. She had it in a crock pot at home, and I couldn't smell it, and my wife could barely smell it.
Mm-hmm.
And when we realized we couldn't smell the roast, we started spraying Lysol, and I sprayed it really thick and couldn't smell that. And if you can't smell Lysol, there's something going on. And I knew then we had COVID. We tested positive that week, and my wife, even though she was showing the symptoms and everything, I'm the one that ended up in the hospital. I checked her oxygen one night. Our pastor of congregational care, Dr. Nalin Dunnigan, and I appreciate her so much, has sent food to the house, and Rosalind Blake has sent food to the house for us. And we couldn't taste or smell. Those were the only symptoms I had. My wife had the others. But, I was checking Deneen's oxygen, and I give God praise for my wife. I was checking her oxygen. Hers was fine, but mine was low. I checked it all throughout the night. It was fluctuating. The next morning I got up, I went to the emergency room. The ambulance came because my wife said, don't drive with your oxygen fluctuating. The ambulance came, and it went from there. I went to the emergency room. They told me they needed to put a CPAP on me. And, it covers your face to regulate your oxygen, or until your oxygen is back to normal.
Right.
I told them, whatever you do, don't put me on a ventilator. Well, the CPAP was coming down over my face. Mr. Lester, are you okay? I'm fine. Then I heard a voice, Mr. Lester, do you know your name? And I said, Chuck Lester. She said, Chuck, does Cornelius ring a bell? I said, yes. Cornelius is my real name. They call me Chuck. She said, Mr. Lester, do you know where you are? I said, no, ma'am, I don't. She said, Mr. Lester, you're at Methodist Germantown Hospital. You're on a ventilator, and you've been here almost a month.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh goodness.
That-
Wow.
That's how that happened.
You were obviously very close to death, were you?
The doctors have told me, a couple of doctors have said close to death as a human being could possibly get. I spent 42 days on the ventilator. 26 days after that in inpatient rehab, then had to go back and spend another 32 days in order to have open heart surgery because the virus, the infection that was in my body, destroyed my aortic valve. Just totally destroyed it. It wasn't working. So, I was about to check out then. And even after the open heart surgery, I had what they call a pericardial, um, the the sac around the pericardial sac around your heart.
Yeah.
Mine had a liter of fluid in it, almost a liter. So I was suffocating and didn't even know it. I knew something was wrong. So they had to do what they call a pericardial window, where they cut a little opening in that. They had to go back and do surgery again to cut an opening to drain that fluid. So three times by God's grace, I escaped death. Now here's the other thing, Chip. 64, as of December 8th, 2020, or the year 2020, 64 patients in Methodist Germantown were on ventilators due to COVID, had been on ventilators that year due to COVID.
Yes, sir.
Life support, and only 6 of us lived.
Wow. You saw God, no doubt about that. What was the final inspiration for you? I'm sure I know, but for our listeners, after you started to recover from this, really from the brink of death, to write the book that you wrote.
Well, God told me to write the book. I would pray, and God said, "You're going to write about this. I'm going to heal you to the point where nobody's good." Well, a lot of people are not going to believe that you've been sick. That was the explanation for the scarring. But God said, "I want you to write, and I want you to write how I tell you to." Now, I didn't start right off. So I thank my wife, Dr. Deneen Lester, for encouraging me. Again, our pastor of congregational care, Dr. Alan Donegan, and I have to thank my sister, Dr. Cynthia Alexander Mitchell, for just encouraging me to stick with it and write. And I did that. My pastor prayed for me, Dr. Gina Stewart, and so many others, just so many people around the world. And I just wanted to write the book, not only for me, but for different people, to let people know that no matter how low you are or what's going on in your life, you're never so low or nothing's ever so bad that God can't bring you through it. There's nothing too hard for God.
And what's the name of the book?
The book is titled A Real-Time Miracle. And God told me to title it that simply because, first off, that's what it is. That's what the medical doctors have said that it's nothing short of the miraculous. So because we didn't know what to do with all of that. Your body has gone through something, and I have totally recovered. I mean, I am 100% recovered. And they said, your body has gone through something that the human body was not made to go through or not made to withstand. So that's what, made me want to go out and write the book. And I wanted my wife to co-author it with me because she was at home doing this. Deneen was at home during this time, due to COVID restrictions in the hospitals.
Sure.
And her story is just as amazing as mine. But she said, "No, that's your story. You write it." And I said, "Well, why don't you do this? You go on my Facebook sometimes and you hack on my Facebook page and you hack my page." And she got to the point where she started putting wife hacks on her post. She was posting.
That's where it
came from. So I said, "Why don't you hack the book? You jump in there and tell your story."
Chuck, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. That's a great story too, by the way. Before I just have a few seconds left, before I let you go, what do you want people to take from this book? What's the message?
I want people to take that God. I titled it A Real-Time Miracle because God is still doing what God has always done. We read the Bible, and I encourage that. I read my Bible every day. I read scripture every day. But every once in a while, we need to see somebody in the flesh and blood, in flesh and blood, in our own flesh. I mean, we need to see somebody with our own natural eyes that's going through something, and God brings them out. We need to see God at work with someone who's living. And that's what I want people to take away from it, that there are people out here. God is still working miracles every day. And whatever you're going through, whatever your corona may be. Mine was COVID, but yours may be marital problems, financial problems, what have you. There's nothing too hard for God.
Well, there you go. That's how you end the program. Listen, Reverend Dr. Chuck Lester, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, sharing your story, and I'm sure you've inspired a lot of folks, and I'm sure your book will as well. Thank you for taking the time to come on and be with us tonight. I really appreciate you so much.
And the book can be purchased on Amazon.
And give us the name again.
A Real-Time Miracle by Dr. Chuck Lester. Wife Hacks by Dr. Deneen Lester.
A Real-Time Miracle. Thank you, Chuck, for being on the show. Thank you so much. God bless you, man. Appreciate you. All right, buddy.
Bless you.
Yes, sir. Well, there you go, boy. There you go. That's how you end the broadcast right there. That's a real life miracle, and we are so glad that he is doing better. And obviously, you heard his story, and it is a true testament. Well, that about wraps it up for us tonight as Bryn plays us out. And by the way, you don't have permission to leave the channel. You need to keep it right here to WYXR, because up next is Bryn's show, Event Horizon. That's the coolest name ever, Event Horizon. And, he's going to take you on a musical ride, so to speak. And it's fun stuff. So stick around and support him. So for all of us, I'm stalling because Lola has to do her thing. For all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, for lovely Lola, there she is, and for Bryn, who's not going anywhere. He's got a lot to do for the next hour in terms of entertaining you. And yours truly. By the next time I see you, Lord says so, I have another birthday under my belt, and we appreciate all of that. Thank you for making us part of your Monday evening ritual. We hope that you enjoyed the show tonight, and we hope that you will continue supporting our show in the future. So again, for all of us, no show next week. Lola's going to be on for 2 hours next week doing her thing. Here she comes back, doing her thing. 2 hours next Monday for Labor Day, for Memorial Day. Y'all have a wonderful holiday. We'll see you soon. Until then, take care, and we are out. Peace.